I think this is probably the most nostalgia core movie that Adam Sandler's ever made, only because they recycle so much footage from the original Happy Gilmore.
Arnold, Jacko, Tiger, SpongeBob? What is that? What's with the beaver teeth?
What is up, drivebymovies here, and you are watching
Fresh releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And today we're checking out the long-awaited sequel that I'm not sure if people were asking for, but we got it from Netflix, Happy Gilmore 2.
You stole my life from me. Why would I want to steal the life of somebody who eats pieces of shit for breakfast?
Revisit Happy Gilmore's golf career after his win in the Tour Championship. So, as you said, I think that this has been, since Adam Sandler signed the Netflix contract, this has probably been the most anticipated movie. We all knew that a Happy Gilmore 2 was going to come out eventually. I think it's just what it should have been like maybe a decade ago when everyone was still alive, or like more people were still alive. It feels like it's a little bit too late to kind of throw in the towel and finally make Happy Gilmore 2. Anyways, James, what'd you think of Netflix and Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore 2?
How did I feel? So, I don't know. This movie is really weird, I guess you can say. It starts off how I would not expect it. I mean, the original one does start sentimental with him talking about how his dad died when he was a kid and he went to go live with his grandma. But this movie just starting off killing the wife. I mean, she's still sprinkled in throughout the movie in dream sequences, flashbacks and stuff. But overall, I didn't really care for this movie. It's not funny, like, at all. I didn't find myself laughing, but I did like the heart aspect of this movie. This movie does have some story to tell, and it's sentimental in that family aspect, and I did appreciate all those moments. So overall, I had a good time watching it. It's just not necessarily a good movie and not a movie I'd necessarily rewatch. But what are your thoughts coming out?
I think this is probably the most nostalgia core movie that Adam Sandler's ever made, only because they recycle so much footage from the original Happy Gilmore. And at the beginning, it's a little charming. You see like these old clips of the original film. Even if you just watch the original film before this, you're like, oh man, look how young he looks there. Like, look at how I remember loving that movie. But then like the more they sprinkle it throughout the film, like into where Chubbs' son is in it later, you're honestly getting very over them. Just keep sprinkling these clips in and being like, dude, just like try and make a better new movie instead of just relying on those nostalgia nuggets to kind of like propel this movie, which I don't think it does. I think it just reminds you of how good Happy Gilmore was and how much this film kind of misses that and just doesn't really ever hit the heights or even come close to hitting some type of height that's near the original Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest like flaws and aspects that I hated within the movie, just constantly getting these flashback sequences and clips of the original movie. Only thing that I think utilized that pretty well was Cobra Kai, especially because I had never seen The Karate Kid when I first started watching Cobra Kai. But they utilized using deleted footage that wasn't used. So even though they were essentially flashbacks and seemed like they were showing sequences from the previous movie, it was actually technically never before seen footage. Whereas this, you know, it's all footage that we've seen. Like, all of us have seen Happy Gilmore. And if you're a true fan, I mean, I love Happy Gilmore. I've probably seen that movie probably a dozen times throughout my life. It's not my favorite Adam Sandler movie, but it's one of the most rewatchable ones, I'd say. I always liked the more heartfelt aspects of that movie as well. And I did like that this movie captured that pretty well. But it's just like, this is a close to 2 hour movie, or pretty much on the nose of being 2 hours. And I feel like that's like 10 minutes of footage that they could have cut from the movie. Like, we've all seen the movie. I understand showing a mini sequence just to remind us of something that might have been a small aspect of the movie, but all of us remember his tall 7-foot boss played by Jaws from the James Bond movies. All of us remember Shooter McGavin. All of us remember Chubbs. We don't need to see every scene that they were in the first movie shown again for this movie.
I also wonder how that plays to somebody who maybe hasn't seen the original film. Like, does that play kind of like annoyingly in a way? Because I mean, it was annoying for even being a fan of the original movie, but I wonder someone like, does it feel like you're getting let in on the joke, or does it feel like, all right, come on, let's stop, waxing nostalgic and just get to the point? But yeah, I felt like this film really does, start pretty well. And it honestly had me for, I would say, like the first 40 minutes. But as soon as we kind of get more into Benny Safdie's character's shenanigans, and I love Benny Safdie, but honestly, I was getting pretty tired of him towards the end of this movie. I was just like, can we wrap this whole storyline up? Because that's when I think the film really falls off, is in the climax. And like that whole second and third act is just kind of an abomination to even Happy Gilmore in a way. Like, I like the storylines that they were kind of doing. It felt like it was kind of like relative to like something that like the PGA Tour versus Live Golf kind of like went through with Benny Safdie's Maxi. But it was just like, I felt like this film almost was trying too hard to like pay homage to golf as well, where they had all these like guys from the PGA Tour that are pro golfers and constantly in the movie, where I'm like, I don't even feel like the original was this like honest to golf.
Right, because at the end of the day, that movie was like a rock star ex-hockey player who gets into it and stuff, like, and makes a fool of himself. Like, honestly, I thought Shooter McGavin was a real golfer when we first watched the original one. Granted, I was a kid when I saw that movie. But I would say, though, overall, Shooter McGavin's character was kind of the saving grace for me in this movie. I did like that they have their moment of like fighting each other, which was warranted. They have every right to both hate each other. But I did like that they kind of, become from enemies to lovers within this movie, I guess you could say. Not 100% in this movie, but still, I liked that aspect of them kind of working together and kind of like joining sides for parts of the movie. And yeah, I just think that Christopher McDonald, I think that actor's name is. Yeah. He's just a super funny dude who's in so many movies that we've watched as kids, but just isn't around as much anymore. I don't know if he's retired, but it was a joy to see him. He still looks really good, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, like, some of the members of the old cast, seeing them again kind of, in this movie was cool. I don't know if the kind of cameos for the past actors, like specifically thinking about Chubbs, obviously Carl Weathers isn't with us anymore, but I felt like Lavelle Crawford, I like him, but I just felt like he was so like shoehorned in that I don't know if that was like a joke in itself, but it just didn't hit for me. It was just like, it would be better to just not have a Chubbs if it's just going to be like the same. I just felt so lame. Like, just felt like, how about just have Chubbs be like a Force ghost or something? I'm sure there's enough Carl Weathers footage from the first movie to figure that out. But yeah, I don't know. There was just elements to this movie where this reusing all these clips and it just really fell off and kind of like started despising it towards the end, when in the beginning I was actually enjoying it up until, I would say, this scene with like Happy Gilmore, trying to golf again. He's playing with Eric Andre and that kid from Please Don't Destroy, and that I thought that those scenes were kind of funny, but it just like started falling off from there for me.
Also, I just didn't understand why we got so many big actors for really minor roles. Like, I guess you could call them cameos, but like, I just didn't think this movie warranted any of these. Like, Travis Kelce, Margaret Qualley, and you just mentioned Eric Andre. It's just like, why? Like, awesome if you can afford them just to play one small role, or if they did it as a favor just because they all are a big fan of the first one, and Adam was just like, hey, you want to have a small role in this movie? But just, I wouldn't say it was distracting. I know it's been bugging a lot of people. A lot of the reviews I've seen on Letterboxd are people complain about how many cameos there are in this movie. A lot of them just went right over my head, especially like a lot of the golf players that are brought into this one. Like you said earlier, that did catch me off guard, how much they were using true pro golfers, and then also trying to save the actual golf league for this. I was surprised how focused they were on all that. But yeah, the cameos didn't necessarily bother me, but just while watching, I was just like, why are they in this? And like, this isn't even funny too, what their character is doing. Like, I expected Eric Andre to do some crazy stunt or something. And, that sequence, they do crash and the car blows up. But just like, I expected, if you're going to use Eric Andre, utilize him a little bit weird. And it was just weird to see him as like a rich, straight character who's just like annoyed that Happy Gilmore doesn't know how to golf anymore.
Yeah, I would say if you're a huge fan of the original Happy Gilmore, I think you could safely skip this movie and just let your positive memories of Happy Gilmore stay in the past, because it's probably fun to think about every once in a while. But as soon as you watch this movie, you're going to be hating the original Happy Gilmore. You're going to be hating that Adam Sandler decided to make a sequel to this movie, because this was just a huge letdown, especially so many years in the making. Like, if you're going to hit the sequel bin, like, just don't do it like 30 years later. And they tried to go big in every aspect, but it didn't feel like it was deserved to even try and go that route. It felt like it would have been better off like kind of keeping it, smaller and more close to the heart than something like this, where the heartfelt stuff really works, like you said, but everything else where they're trying to go big feels like it doesn't work at all for me.
Right. And then also I just found it hard to believe, like, this movie is probably just a decade too late. Like, I found it hard to believe Adam Sandler at that age. Like, I know there are golfers at that age still playing today and stuff too, but just like, I couldn't see it, like, being retired for all these years, becoming an alcoholic and stuff, and then goes back into golfing and learns that quickly. I didn't buy it, but, this is a movie essentially, but just, yeah, it's just sad to say it didn't work for me. Like, if you're a true lover of Adam Sandler movies and Happy Gilmore, I can see this working for you. But me, this is actually one of the movies by Adam Sandler that I've watched a lot and do genuinely enjoy. But I'd still consider myself like a casual lover of the original movie. And yeah, this one just didn't do it for me. And like you said, is probably not going to do it for a lot of people out there. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the movie? Are we completely wrong? Let us know in the comments below. That's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, catch all our social media links down below for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as our own Letterboxd accounts. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.